I got a great question from a woman named Erin. So her question was, at what age is someone done with menopause? I thought that was a pretty good question. How long does menopause last? So first thing we have to do is define menopause. Medically, menopause is going 12 months, no period. Pretty simple. In most cases, that doesn't happen all in one sitting, right? You'll go a month or two, then have a period. Then maybe you'll go 3 or 4 and have a period. Then you might go 7 or 8 and have a period. That really can be frustrating. But then eventually you hit 12 months, no period, you're in menopause. Now, spoiler alert, you have a period in month 14, you're out of menopause, you start counting all over again, you're still looking for 12 consecutive months. So that whole time frame where you're obviously slowing down, you're not in menopause yet, that time frame is called perimenopause, literally meaning around menopause. So perimenopause is typically when people have a lot of their symptoms. It can be where their periods do some really weird things. Perimenopause can last a while. For some women, it can be 2 or 3 years worth of this off and on and off and on kind of, I'm almost there, now I had a period. I'm almost there, now I had a period. It can be really frustrating because at that point, most women are just, they're done. They don't want to have periods anymore. They're fine with it just quietly stopping. So once you hit your 12 months no period, once you're done with periods, like you're done, that lasts the rest of your life. There is no age at which that necessarily stops, because in order for that to stop, you'd have to start having periods again. So at what age does menopause stop? It doesn't. Once you're in menopause, you'll be in menopause the rest of your life. Now, Erin, I know that's probably not the question you were asking. So now I'm going to answer the question I think you were probably asking, which was, how long do I have to put up with these symptoms? Right? People now equate menopause with symptoms. Menopause has hot flashes and vaginal dryness and poor libido and brain fog and weight gain and no energy and grumpiness and all that stuff. So how long do you have to put up with that? First of all, those can be associated with menopause. They do not have to be part of menopause. There are many women that slip right into menopause without dealing with any of that. I'll explain why in just a minute. So how long does that last? Well, it lasts until you get your hormones balanced. So the way menopause generally happens, in theory, you kind of run out of eggs, you run out of eggs, and because you don't need to ovulate anymore, you're not going to get pregnant anymore, your ovaries kind of say, I don't think I'm going to participate in this whole hormone production thing, and everything starts to wind down. So your hormone levels are coming down. Now, what's supposed to happen when the ovaries quit is that you're still making some of this in the adrenal glands. Adrenal glands are your stress coping glands. They're named for where they sit. Adrenal means above the kidneys, right? So you have one on top of each kidney. So if the adrenal glands are doing their job and they're producing some hormone, that's kind of your safety net. So you come down off the amount of hormone you've been making in your ovaries, and you land on this kind of soft padding of what the adrenal glands are producing. Now, many people have adrenal glands that are dysregulated or not doing their job well. And for those women, when their ovaries stop making hormones, there's no safety net, right? They just crash and they're going to have symptoms. Some women are in between. They quit making hormones in their ovaries. They have a couple of months where they get a few hot flashes here and there, a little bit of vaginal dryness, and that's it. It's not a big deal. They went through it, they're aware of it, they had a few symptoms, no biggie. But then there are women that are plagued with this stuff. I mean, it can be really, really bad, like life-altering kind of bad for many of these women. Those are the women that end up generally seeking help from someone like a functional medicine doctor, because regular medicine has limited options. They can just put them on hormones. But if that woman has any history of, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, anything like that, hormones just might not be an option. And even if they do put them on hormones, eventually you get off the hormones, you deal with the same decline, and you're right back where you started. So getting the safety net in place and robust enough to be that that softer landing pad when you come down off your ovarian hormones, I think is important. There's something called an HPA axis, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, that has to be regulated properly in order for you to make pregnenolone and DHEA and aromatize that, eventually onto estrogen. So how long does the symptomatic part of that last? That varies from person to person. The sooner you can get a good look at your hormone status, pregnenolone, actually cholesterol, pregnenolone, DHEA, androstenedione, etiocholinone, testosterone, 3 different kinds of estrogen, the breakdown products of estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, cortisone, melatonin, all of those hormones are playing a role in this. If you can get a look at those hormones and understand the balance or imbalance and which organs or glands make those and who's not doing their job and who's doing too much, now you've got a potential for someone who knows what they're doing to help you change your diet, your sleeping patterns, your supplementation schedule to be advantageous to those organs or glands that need to do more work, or to help you detoxify the excess hormones that should already be out of your body, and kind of help you guide your body back to doing what it's naturally supposed to do. If you can find someone to get a good look, I use a Dutch test for that. If you've watched my other videos, you've certainly heard me say that repeatedly. At this point, I just don't see any other test on the market that comes close to giving you the information that the Dutch test gives you. You can go to dutchtest.com and watch their videos and look at sample test reports. But once you get a good look at that, if you have a practitioner that understands what changes you likely need to make so that you're not plagued by those symptoms, it doesn't have to last long at all. It never really had to happen had someone been keeping an eye on that to begin with, right? If you had seen somebody either in perimenopause or just before perimenopause to say, hey, I want to be ready for this. What are my hormones like? Is there anything I need to watch out for? You could be one of those women that sails through this without symptoms. But if you don't know what the landscape looks like, it's very difficult to just start throwing random products at it or stick pellets in or use creams or whatever to try to balance a system you can't really even see. That's a difficult task to ask your practitioner to do or for them to volunteer to do. So I know that was a long answer to your question. At what age does menopause end? Hopefully the ripe old age of 130, right? I mean, because it ends when you end. But at what age does the suffering end? It shouldn't even happen. It's not normal. So if you have some suffering, it should end pretty quickly. And if it doesn't, talk to somebody, right? See a qualified practitioner, work with somebody to get a Dutch test and work through it and understand what's going on with you and certain things you do that might have led you into that situation or certain things you can do to get you out of that situation. So hopefully that answered your question well. And if you had the question, I'm sure many others did also. So hope that served you well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.